Hello and welcome. Today we are making a beautiful forest floor arrangement. We've just completed this beautiful live terrarium and we have a lot of ingredients left over, and sometimes you don't want to make a live terrarium. You want to make something that requires zero maintenance, with the exception of perhaps dusting. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a very similar forest floor without any live plants. It's going to be a beautiful little project that will probably take you, maybe 10 minutes max. So come on, let's start the project and I'll show you all the simple steps so that you can create this too. So let's just walk through some of the tools that we're going to be using. First of all, what I have here is a beautiful cloche. I picked this up quite a while ago, and if you follow my garden tours, you'll see that it's actually been outside on the deck, sitting on this tray. So this tray here is just really a plant saucer, and luckily this cloche fits right on top of it. So I'm starting with this. I've cleaned it up from outside. It had gotten a little bit dirty, so I've cleaned it all up. And this is going to be the base for my forest floor as we move forward. Now I also have all of this sheet moss that I picked up. And if you recall, we wet it yesterday to use it in the live terrarium. Today, what we're going to be doing is using it in a dry state. We don't want it to be wet because we don't want it to sort of change any of the environment in our forest floor. That's totally dry and maintenance free. Now, the other thing we're going to be using are the beautiful amethyst rocks. If you recall, I mined these up north in Thunder Bay, which is on the north shore of Lake Superior. There's some beautiful amethyst mines up there, which I highly recommend if you're up in the area to stop by. Again, I was able to pick up like a big bucket full of them for about $31. It's such a fun day. You'll spend probably 5 hours doing that. The rest of the things that we're going to be using is we still have some lovely little acorns left over from yesterday. And again, I collect these throughout the year. Be sure to capture some of the cute little hats, because often the acorns will lose their little hat, and you'll want to have that because in your forest floor, because they separate, you're going to want some of the hats as well. It's very rare to get one that stays together. We also have some of these little tiny miniature pine cones or seed pods. And we have some bigger pine cones, which comparatively speaking to the other one, it's very tiny, but these are very miniature sized pine cones. We have the one piece of bark that was left from our project. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're also going to make a little candle arrangement that'll work with this, so that I can pair these three pieces together on my dining room table as a beautiful arrangement. All right, so I'm gonna change the angle of the camera and I'm gonna try to get it a little bit closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing, and I'm hoping it works. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our forest floor. I have this really nice arrangement of all of this dry moss, and as I mentioned before, it's not wet. What I've done is, because it comes in a big sheet, is I've sort of made it one piece that works exactly on this tray. And I've tested it before I go any further to make sure that the whole piece fits. Because before I make anything else, I want to make sure that I'm not going to have to adjust things as I go. So you want to do that as your very first step, is take that sheet moss and just make sure that it fits really nice. Now the next part is really going to be up to you where you decide you want to start. I like to start with the rocks, and I am using my rocks so that they face to the outside of my arrangement. I want the very pretty little crystals that are on here to face out. And I'm using 5 rocks, and I'm going to choose the best side to face out. Actually, I'm using 6 rocks, but 2 of them are really tiny, and one has just a stunning array of beautiful crystals on it. And so you can see that sort of like across here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take my piece of bark and I'm going to put that on my forest floor. Sort of going to divide it right in half, only because it's the only way that it fits. If you had ones that you wanted to put in a different arrangement, you could certainly do that. The next thing I'm going to do is start to sort of build pieces. So I've got some sticks, and I'm just going to put all of these cute little seed pods around this. And you'll adjust. Now remember, you know, in a forest, things sort of fall how they want to fall without a whole lot of effort. So don't over stress that you need to have this perfect. This is a total project of just having some fun and seeing how things lay. Now I'm going to make sure that as I go along with my acorns, that I'm using them in sets of 3, because again, the eye likes 3s, 7s, 5s. I'm going to try to find the one that has the little hat that fits this one. You can see that one fits directly. So I'm actually going to just have it sort of sit right here so I can find it later on. And again, it's just really about placing things where you think they look good. Things can tuck underneath. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our cute little tiny pine cones. So you could use a bigger pine cone if you have a bigger scale piece, but I've tried to find little ones. Now, with a pine cone, remember that the bottom is as intriguing as the top. So, and nature doesn't make everything sort of fall directly straight down. So as you go, place a couple of them so that you see the bottoms, because it's so much more interesting that way. And you can adjust this and play with it however you would like. And if you have one that's a little bit less lovely on the top, those are the ones that you might want to for sure use the bottom. And you can see this doesn't take very long at all, but it does give you the opportunity to just have some fun and sort of see where things end up. So right here, I've got 3. So I want to make sure that there's one that's maybe on its side and one that I'm going to see the bottom faced out. And this one I want it to sit straight up. I've got one that's sitting by itself, and I'm going to sort of complete this section right here with this one tucked right in here. Here's an aerial view of what the whole piece looks like from the top. You can see it's got so many interesting dimensions from every angle. So pretty. So the next step is just to make sure that your cloche is nice and clean. You'll also just want to make sure that there's nothing really kind of hanging off to the side, because it does kind of create a little bit of dirt. So just make sure that any of the moss is just tucked underneath. And because you already tested that your cloche is going to fit on top, everything should fit just beautifully. All right, so now that we've completed this beautiful piece and our live terrarium, we want to create a balanced arrangement. So I am doing a third element that I'm going to be using a candle. Now the candle is actually one that has a remote control. So I don't have to worry about oxygen getting into my arrangement, and I'll just show you. It's just one that lights up with a remote control, so I don't even have to remove the lid. So I'm just going to turn that off. And what I have is a beautiful piece of milk glass. And I know that this piece all fits together. So again, I've tested this just to make sure that it all works. And then what I'll do is I'll decorate it using the same kind of forest floor elements. Let me show you what it's going to look like. So before you start, you'll just want to make sure that everything is clean and tidy, because once you put it together, you probably don't want to move it around too much. What I've done is I'm using the exact same moss that I used in the live terrarium and my dry terrarium. I've actually wet this one primarily because I want it to be more bendable. So by making it bendable, I was actually able to make a little bit of a circle that I could tuck in all around the candle. Now, because I know that this sits right in the groove, I want to make sure that my moss is nicely tucked in. You're going to get lots of little sticks and stuff as you go along, especially if you're using live moss as this is. I'm not going to worry about this being a micro like little environment. I'm going to assume that this is going to dry out, and I will actually leave the lid off after a while. Now, one of the elements that I have in my home that I considered using was this cute little Inukshuk. He was part of an award, and the award got broken, but I severed this part off of the award because I just love the glass structure of it. I think what I may do is just put this right in front of this piece. I'm going to just want to make sure that my lid will still fit, and you can see that it does. Now, an Inukshuk here in Canada is part of our cultural heritage. It's not my cultural heritage because I'm not a First Nations Indigenous Inuit person. However, it is something that many of us identify with here as part of being outdoors, being up north. And so that's part of the reason I want to use this, because it's very reflective in the forest floor elements that we see when we're out canoeing and hiking. You will find these as guides as you're going hiking. Sometimes they're more cairns, which is more stacks of rocks, but sometimes people also make these. So I wanted to use that as an element, and then I'm going to start to use some of the other pieces to just sort of build a circle around here of all of the pretty little pieces that we've used. So I'm going to start with my acorns, just because they're heavier, and I'm going to sort of put them all around this piece. And you can decide how many you want. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to use the same little seed pods sort of in between. Again, I'm not looking for perfection here. I may even take one of these big sticks that I have and sort of stick it on the side here. Again, always remember you've got to have it so that your lids can fit. Let's see if there's another good stick in here. Similar. Just so that there's some elements that pop up nice and tall on the other sides of this piece. So now I'm just going to put my lid on. Going to make sure that it's all cleaned up along the sides here. And then let's turn this on. What I like is the fact that right in front of you is this nice little centerpiece. So each one of these pieces I have created, I feel like there's a front, that there's a way to look at them, and as I arrange them on the table, I'll take that into consideration so that no matter what way that you're looking on the table, you have a beautiful arrangement sitting in front of you. I am absolutely delighted with the way that these 3 terrariums have turned out. Wow, using the forest floor as my guide has just been so much fun, and I hope you've enjoyed the videos too. So we have this beautiful live terrarium. There is a separate video on how you can put that one together, as well as some of the care and maintenance instructions. What I love about this dry terrarium is that there is absolutely no work that I need to do, with the exception of the occasional dusting. It sits and it's just beautiful. And the other thing I like about it is because I've used a clay base on it and that there's no moisture, I don't have to worry about that clay destroying my dining room table. In the front, I have this really nice, beautiful candle terrarium that's made on melt glass. It's just such a pretty little lighting element to this whole arrangement, and it's lighter and it's brighter, and I like the fact that they are mismatched in the way that their bases are and the way that the sizes of them are. I just find it's just a beautiful arrangement. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I love bringing all these videos to you, and over the winter time, I'm so looking forward to showing you all sorts of other creative ways that you can bring your garden or the outdoors into your home. There's no reason why during the winter time you can't think about your future garden or enjoy elements of nature here right along every single day. I'm so looking forward to sharing more videos with you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get notified when I post new ones. Thanks so much, and again, always just love your comments. You guys are the kindest, sweetest audience that I have ever met. The community of gardeners, you guys lift each other up, and it's such an inspiration to learn from you and to hear about other creative ideas that you think we should explore together. Thanks so much. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow along. We'd love to have you for this wonderful journey as we adventure into homesteading and all different things that have to do with the beauty of food and nature and how it all comes together to build a beautiful, fulfilling life. Take care, everyone.